Hello and welcome back to another vlog. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Alex. I'm 35 years old. I live here in New York City and Brooklyn to be specific. I like to use this channel as a creative outlet to build a community around the things that I really enjoy, like food, wine, coffee, life in the city, and things of that sort. This vlog may be finding some new folks that are looking to visit New York City and plan an itinerary, because this last week's vlog is mostly just me and my family out in the city. I had my family come and visit this last week for 3 days. Well, it was more than 3 days, but like some people stayed 4 days, some people say 5 days, something like that. But I took off 3 days from work, which is why I thought 3 days. But my family came to visit from Florida for my nephew's spring break, and then for a couple of my cousins, like first time coming to New York. So my youngest nephew, it was his first time in New York, and it was my older cousin and her daughter's first time in New York. So I was planning with a lot of things in mind, and I wasn't the only one making plans, but as the New York resident, I was like trying to guide us in making an itinerary and then kind of like grouping activities into different areas. So I wanted to share that as a guide in addition to just sharing this vlog this week as like what I've been doing. I'm gonna put a timestamp where you can jump to a little bit more detail about how I structured and put together where we went and kind of how we navigated. But I'm gonna go ahead and start the usual vlog from here, and then I'll put a timestamp to where you can jump and get that info if you don't want to hang out for the full vlog. But thanks so much for joining me. The first place on our itinerary was Timeout Market in Dumbo, Brooklyn Bridge Park area. I got some Bark barbecue. I love good barbecue. My brother-in-law also loves barbecue. My boyfriend also loves barbecue. I don't know who doesn't love barbecue, but that was my choice for lunch. We went into Kith Kids, which is just so adorable, but they've had the store open for like less than a year. So we took them in there and then just did a little walk through Dumbo and took the train over to Manhattan. My sister is a huge Harry Potter fan, so we stopped in the Harry Potter store. It's also just a fun experience in general. The full store, you can buy merchandise and pick by your house. You can also do like some photo experiences, which we did with my nephews downstairs and just hung out. But this area has a lot to offer. They spent a little bit of time in the Lego store. We didn't go into Italy, but Italy's over there. Sol Sui, the bakery, is over there as well. And then we walked down to Levain, and if I had it my way, we would have gone to Dore, but I can go to Dore whenever. They're just visiting, so we just went to places that, they wanted to hit before they left. The next morning, we had breakfast at Bubbys in Tribeca. Pancakes, breakfast, all good things. I actually got some pancake mix to take home because I hadn't been over there in like over a year, so I was all out of their pancake mix. We didn't visit any museums on this trip, maybe on another one, and on previous ones, my mom and my nephew have gone to different museums, but we did go to a historical site with the 9/11 memorial while we were down near One World Trade Center, which is really awesome. We got to see architecture with the Oculus, and we also got to see the 9/11 memorial, One World Trade Center, and all those things. And then we headed up to Central Park, and then we were planning to go from Central Park to 30 Rock area over near Rockefeller Center to see everything they had to offer there, including FAO Schwartz, the Nintendo store, the ice skating rink. Like when you think about all the New York moments and movies and TV shows, the iconic things that, people expect to see and what they think of when they think of New York. It's not holiday time, so it's not dressed up the same, but it is still, that landmark. We also went into the Nintendo store for quite a bit. My younger nephew loves Mario so much, and I played the video game for like a hot second, and it just brought back so many memories. I think we had a Nintendo 64, and all we played was Donkey Kong. It was like the water version of Donkey Kong. If anybody remembers this from like 1990, 6 or something like that, where you had to take it out and like blow into the cartridge to make your game work again. We were playing Donkey Kong and literally nothing else. On Wednesday night, everyone else went out to Times Square for Broadway shows and everything and to see the lights in Times Square, but I kept my nephews at my place and we got to have a sleepover, which we never get to do because they live in Florida and I live here. My oldest nephew has been here before with my mom, but like he hasn't even spent the night at my house by himself before this night, like without another adult, just like us, like spending the night at his aunt's house before then. So I got to keep both of my nephews. I've kept them at their house, of course, you know, when we travel or at the hotel, but it was really nice to be like, I have my nephews here tonight and I just get to spend some time with them. So we did that. And then we went to Jack's by Frieda the next morning, popped into Glossier and took a family picture and just continued to go around the city. There's the billboard of the Bad Bunny Calvin Klein ad we drove by while we were leaving Soho area and heading over to Cuts and Slices. Got to try that and also took my nephews to the fire safety station thing they have up near 30 Rock. And then these were just from the weekend. We had a half of a nice day on Saturday and everyone was like, this is the nicest day. It's the first nice Saturday. Everybody's going outside. And it was over by 3 p.m. in terms of niceness. But I did get to pop out for a little bit in the morning time and I stopped by the Union Square Green Market. And then the next segment of this vlog is just going to be me doing a talking head portion. If you're here to learn a little bit more about how I put the itinerary together for my family. And that'll be it for this vlog. So as I was putting this itinerary together, I'm an itinerary person. I feel like it's just a nice guideline. You know, we weren't really stringent about we have to go here, but also it was some people's first visit or they're not as familiar with New York, so they don't necessarily have as many opinions or like strong feelings about where we should have gone next, et cetera, et cetera. So what I thought was best was that we just have a rough guideline. I really believe in making as many reservations as you can, especially when you have a larger party, just to set yourself up for success and like have the better experience and also like be received well when you go places and not have to wait, because we were not really in a position to be waiting in long lines. I put this itinerary together with that in mind. We had 2 small children. We had people from a not walkable place who are not used to walking, let alone, you know, standing in line for 30 minutes, 40 minutes. We had someone with a food allergy and we had a lot going on. And I knew we just didn't have a ton of time to waste waiting 30 minutes to sit down, waiting 40 minutes to sit down and eat or whatever, or to do certain experiences. And it was in the middle of the week and their spring break is different than New York spring break, which is really convenient. So I wanted to have all of those things in mind. You know, I also wanted them to be able to take those iconic, recognizably like New York City photos where it's like, you're obviously New York. That's the Brooklyn Bridge. You know, that's the New York City skyline. That's, you know, One World Trade Center. That's the Oculus, like those types of things. So these are a couple of the areas and like activities that I grouped together for my group. Oh yeah, and just for context, we had about 7 to 9 people while dining at any given time, like from the beginning. One area that I grouped was Dumbo. So like Dumbo and Brooklyn Bridge Park. I often walk down there. If you follow this vlog, you'll see me like during the summer and stuff. I like hang out in Dumbo, Brooklyn Bridge Park all the time. Arabica coffee is down there that I really love. That's usually what I'll go get coffee there and then just walk and enjoy down there because there's like just a really great walking path. But we as a group went to Timeout Market. I chose Timeout Market and I think it's a really good place to go for groups because food halls are great for that. People can choose different things. You can try different things. There are some more iconic New York restaurants in there, like Bark Barbecue was there. There was a burger place. Some people got burgers. There was a taco place. Some folks got tacos. Clinton Street Bakery is there. My younger nephew really loves pancakes. And I was like, we should go. There's Clinton Street Bakery there. He'll really like it. And he really did like it. He did get Clinton Street Bakery and he really did like it. I got Bark Barbecue, but I was just like, you know, we can all find something that we want to eat. It's not crazy expensive. We can find somewhere to sit. There's the overlook where you can take pictures with either bridge up top, and then downstairs you can also take pictures out by the water. There's a park over closer in the Dumbo area. Like it's such a fine line between Dumbo and Brooklyn Bridge Park, but either way, over closer to the Manhattan Bridge. There's that like iconic photo spot, but there's also a bookstore and other shops and things. There's a CVS down in that area, Cafe Devotion. I could name like 80,000 things because there's so many things in every area. So I don't want to get caught up on that. But we ate at Timeout Market. We took photos around. We walked around. We went into Kith Kids because we had kids with us to like take a look at some stuff, possibly shop. And then we headed into the city from there. And we went to the Harry Potter store. So that wasn't like super grouped together, but when we got there, we took the F train right up to right near, I think it's like 23rd Street or 21st Street or something like that. And we got out in the Flatiron District, and right there, there's Italy. We had just eaten. We weren't shopping for food, but there's Italy right there if you have a group that wants to go to see Italy in New York City. There's also the Lego store on that corner. We were specifically headed to the Harry Potter store. So we went to the Harry Potter store. There's also a new really popular bakery called Salt Sweet, like right across from, well, like across and like up the block from the Harry Potter store. So my sister and her family are like really big Harry Potter fans. So we went into the Harry Potter store and spent like, I want to say like 40 minutes, like almost an hour in the Harry Potter store. But we also did like some photo experiences and stuff. So we went from there and we walked down to Levain. There's a Levain location kind of in that Union Square Flatiron area. And then what else is over there? Dore. There's also a Dore there. But we didn't go to Dore on this trip, but if you are planning a trip to New York City, I think going to Dore is great if you like a really good baked good or if you like a really good donut. So that was Dumbo into like Flatiron area. Then we went to Tribeca and Fidi the next day. So we went to Bubbys. And Bubbys is a really popular breakfast spot. They're popular for their pancakes and biscuits and pies. And I think, so we went to Bubbys. What is it, pies? I know they're popular for their pancakes and their biscuits and things. I've been there quite a few times. I often go when people are visiting in town. So we had a party of 7 with a child. And we walked up. It was a Wednesday. It was a weekday and it's not a holiday. And we got there around like 10:30ish or something like that. So we basically didn't wait, but there were smaller groups that were waiting. But I think because we were a larger group, we ended up getting seated quickly. Just because, I mean, it's by chance. It is also by chance because another larger group could have gotten there before us, right? Or could have taken a little bit longer or whatever. We could have gotten there a little earlier and had to wait. But there's also a coffee shop nearby that you can wait in. There's not a ton of places to go around there, but I've been to Bubbys before the last time my oldest nephew visited. And if you go over to the West Side Highway in the warmer months, it was still cold at this time. There's a playground. There's a really nice playground if you go over to the West Side Highway, like right on that street near Bubbys. So we had taken my nephew when he came during the summer, and it was just myself, my mom, and my oldest nephew. So I knew that there was a park down the street or whatever. If it were warmer to go to, or if you come in warmer months, you can go to that park. We took the train from there down to the Oculus, because if you just basically walk to the end of the block, there's a one train you can take downtown to like Fidi, One World Trade Center area. So we took the train down there, and in that area you can go to the 9/11 Memorial. You can see One World Trade Center. There is plenty of places to go to the bathroom because there's the Oculus, which is a mall for all intents and purposes. There are dining destinations. There's another food hall hooked in there. There's a Italy upstairs from there as well. And tons and tons of trains land there if you need to go somewhere else. So I said Brookfield Place is down there. One World Trade Center is down there. 9/11 Memorial is there. The Oculus is there. What else? Yeah, Brookfield Place. Like I would say if you're trying to find somewhere to go to the bathroom, maybe go in Brookfield Place. The St. Ambrose in there is good. And then there's probably like other bathrooms around, but there's like a nice big food hall there. There's outside dining. You know, it's just really scenic, especially in the warmer months. So yeah, that was our Tribeca stop. Then we left there and went to Central Park to Fifth Avenue. So I kind of grouped those things together. So the Central Park to Fifth Avenue was kind of like a grouping in my mind because there's not a ton to do at Central Park unless you're like getting on a horse ride or taking a really long walk or going up to the Met or going to the zoo. So I guess I take that back. There's a lot to do at Central Park, but we weren't doing those things. So there was adults and kids. So we thought about going to the Museum of Natural History. We thought about going to the Met. We thought about going to the Central Park Zoo. And the amount that it costs to go into something like the Museum of Natural History with 5 adults and 2 kids was just like not worth it to us. Or was it, wait, it was 1, 2, 3, yeah, five adults. In terms of bang for your buck, the admission price for the museum for 5 adults and 2 children, just for the 2 kids to see the whale for like a couple minutes and be like mildly impressed with it, was not worth it to us. And you know, I think you could justify it. I've taken my older nephew went on his first trip here. I took my goddaughter years ago when she came. And I don't think it's something that you shouldn't do, but I feel like when there's like mostly adults that are not going to be as entertained and into all the science and the natural history museum, like what the natural history museum has to offer, for like over $100 in admission or whatever, it may just not be worth it. But if your family is into something like that and would stay occupied and like happy on their feet during that time, definitely go for it. There are good exhibits there. The butterfly exhibit, is it the Cosmos? I think the Cosmos might still be there. Do your own research there. So yeah. So we decided against going to the Met. We decided against going to the Museum of Natural History. We decided against going to the Central Park Zoo. But I have been to the Central Park Zoo, and I think for a smaller or like more kid-focused group, you should go in the warmer months. It would be nice because it was also still cold. So we went into Central Park and walked around and took photos and everything, and in the South Loop entrance. We did not go into Time Warner Center, but that's there, and that's a good bathroom stop. They have bathrooms on each end, like when you go upstairs, that are clean and open and available, because when you're walking around all day, you need to go to the bathroom, especially with a large group and with kids. So yeah. So we did not go into Time Warner Center, but if you do have a group, I can recommend it. We took a car from Central Park over to, we just routed to like the American Girl store. But we went over to 30 Rock and they were like, what's over there? And I was like, well, it's where they film SNL. But you're not, unless you're doing the SNL experience, which I've done before. I don't even know if they still offer it, but I did the SNL experience on like my first visit to New York in like 2011. On my first visit to New York, I did the SNL experience. But if you want to do that, there's tons of experiences in that area, because there's Radio City Music Hall. Cleo Sol is finishing out her shows next week. Then there's 30 Rock, if you want to do the SNL experience, or if you just want to like take any photos or like be in that area. We went into FAO Schwartz, of course, because we had kids with us. We went to the Nintendo store because we had kids with us that play video games. We did not go into the American Girl store. My nephews weren't interested in that. And we didn't go ice skating, but if you want to go to the skating rink is there, right? Those are all in that central area. What else is over there? Magnolia Bakery is also over there. There's also a fire station that's like a fire safety training center that's free for you to go in, and like kids can play on the like fire truck model. You can buy you can find the emblem for your local fire station and just hang out for a while. So we took my nephews there. There's also Magnolia Bakery, as I mentioned, and Dore. So I mentioned Dore and Flatiron. I think that's their original location, but they have another one at 30 Rock, like near 30 Rock in that area. I just call that entire area 30 Rock. Rockefeller Center area, and there's a food hall down there as well that you can get a couple different things and pop into some spots, and it's just really scenic. Taking pictures with the flag, taking pictures over the ice skating rink and stuff is a really good spot to be. So I feel like that Central Park to Fifth Avenue progression is like a pretty natural move. So those two were grouped together. So far we've had Dumbo. So far we've had Dumbo Brooklyn Bridge Park, Tribeca Fidi, Central Park to Fifth Avenue. And then in terms of Times Square, I did not participate in the Times Square festivities, but I stayed in with the kids, and the rest of the adults went out and did various things in that area, including going to Dallas BBQs, which I do not recommend anymore. It it's done. Like it's done. It's out of its heyday. It's done. But at a time, I would have recommended going and getting your fill. But some people went to Dallas BBQs, went to just see the lights in Times Square at night and see all the things that they have going on there. If you want to enjoy that, if it's your first time, I recommend going to see it, not for very long, and then getting it out of the way. It's off your bucket list, you know? So they went to Times Square, they went to eat, they hung out, they bought little trinkets and things while they were out. My sister and brother-in-law went to see MJ the musical. Well, they went to dinner first. They went to Brooklyn Chop House. They went to dinner and a show. And then they went to see MJ the musical, which was really nice. And got to have a night out in the city, like having dinner and a show in the city, like on a date. That's like so nice. So the kids stayed in with me. I didn't do anything that night, but I think that's a good thing to do if you have time without your kids, or if your kids want to see a Broadway show, or at that age, you know, taking them to see a show or going to dinner and a show. They did have reservations for their dinner. So so that helps, but they only had a party of 2. Finding dinner reservations for a party of 7 to 9 is not easy. I will add, on our first night, we also went to Peaches in Brooklyn. We walked in with a party of 8, right? We walked into Peaches Brooklyn on a Wednesday night with a party of 8, and they sat us immediately. It's a weeknight. I knew the size of the restaurant and the traffic and like how long they've been there. I did not make a reservation for us. We walked in, but it was also a Wednesday night, and I know where Peaches is, and I was like, we're chancing it, but how much could we possibly be chancing it on a Wednesday night, you know? They do well. I think they do fine, but I didn't think that they like wouldn't be able to seat us, which is why I chose it, and Peaches is really good. Oh, also, if you're in Times Square area, Junior's is there. You can eat there if you want some like regular old American food and some cheesecake. Junior's is there. It is a iconic New York place, and they've opened up like a newer location from where it used to be, like closer to the M&M store. That's just like nicer, bigger, more updated and everything. So yeah, what else would I mention? Oh, we spent Soho. So I can say Soho is also an area. Cannot forget about Soho. And also, I'm not saying that we hit every neighborhood, but this is just what I lined up. So I would say the last like areas that we went to, I would say Soho to Canal Street. So we did, this is the only reservation we had the entire time, okay? We had a reservation, did not need a card, for Jack's wife Frieda Soho. I love Jack's wife Frieda. I know there's that TikTok of Brenton McClintock where he's like, what is wrong with you? Are you waiting in line to go to Jack's wife Frieda? Jack's wife Frieda? Listen, we weren't lining up, but I patronize Jack's wife Frieda, okay? And I will go up for them. So we had a great experience with the reservation for Jack's wife Frieda. I had it for 8. It was super easy to make. Yes, it was a Wednesday work day at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's not the point. Most of you all who are traveling here, sometimes you'll travel on a holiday or a weekend, but if you do during the week, you have a better chance. If you're doing during the weekend, make your reservations. That's my advice. So yeah. So what was I saying? So yeah, it was 10:30. I think I updated it, and we had to go from a party of 8 to a party of 9. They still had the reservation open. I booked for a party of 9 at 10:45 on, it was a Thursday. It wasn't a Wednesday. And they called me like that same morning. They called me that morning. They didn't call me the night before. They called me that morning, and they're like, hey, we just want to make sure you're still coming in. And I was like, yeah, we actually might be a little bit early. And it was smooth. It was super smooth. It's really nice. You know, I'm always looking for bathrooms, but of course, you can go to the bathroom. You can see the large party. I feel like it's not crazy expensive. There's something for everybody. It's Mediterranean, and it's like Mediterranean inspired, just like good food, right? Good for brunch, good for breakfast, but you could also go for lunch or dinner. So we went to Jack's wife Frieda, and I tried to like have us eat at places that are only New York places too. So we ate breakfast at Jack's wife Frieda, and then we walked over to the Aime Dore store. If you do like shopping or like streetwear and stuff like that in this area, you could also opt to go up to Nolita area. There's Kith Women's, Kith Kids, Kith Men's store, which is actually under like, yeah, there's Kith Women's, there's Kith Kids, there's a vape store, there's Cafe Lyria, there is, then coming down into Soho area, there's on Mulberry Street, there's Greg Una Jewelers, and then there's Aime Dore. What else? There's a lot. There's needless to say, there's a ton going on in Soho. So we left the Soho Jack's wife Frieda. We walked over to Aime Dore. If you wanted to grab a coffee there, there's a coffee there. There's a coffee place there. And then we walked down to, oh no, we also went to Glossier. So we went Jack's wife Frieda. We went to Glossier, which is right next door. We all wanted to check out Glossier. Took a picture in the back of Glossier. If you go in the back of Glossier, there's a photo op, and we did it as a family, which was really fun. So yeah, went into the back of Glossier, took pictures, shopped a little bit, left Glossier, went to Aime Dore, photo op, but also just cool to check out the store, go to the coffee shop and things. And then we went downtown we went down a little bit further to Canal Street to just see the street vendors and everything. Walked up through Soho. There's tons of like retail on Broadway, and then those other streets, depending on how much walking you want to do, you can hang out there. But we left and went to Cuts and Slices because a couple people in our group wanted to go to Cuts and Slices, which is like a Black-owned alternative pizza shop where they put like all types of different toppings on their pizza. So we had some folks that wanted to go there. I think that's pretty much it. We did go downtown Brooklyn a little bit, but it wasn't like the full group and it wasn't like huge destinations. We were kind of just hanging out. So if you're coming here and you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Let me know. I hope this was helpful to kind of guide you if you're putting together an itinerary to come to New York City. I would say, working with a large group, understand the challenges around like getting reservations and like planning things out. This was mostly during the day, and during the evenings we didn't have as like stringent plans or like big dinner plans, which was really helpful. But yeah, if you're traveling with all adults, maybe a little bit different. If you're traveling with more children, it may be a little bit different. But like I said, we have people who are not used to walking all the time. I just kind of advise them like, there's gonna be a lot of walking. Even the kids, like we didn't even take a stroller, and my youngest nephew's 4. So yeah. That was it. Thanks so much for hanging out this vlog. And if you popped in to learn a little bit more about New York City, I hope you got what you needed. And chat with me down in the comments, and I'll see y'all next Sunday. Bye.